What's up, rad humans? I know the lighting's really weird. I'm in a parking lot. I just spoke and I just feel inspired to do something because I'm kind of hyper, and quite a few of you have asked me to tell the story of when I had 7 psychotic episodes because of my thyroid. And so I should probably tell you that story. La 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 la. Where to begin? It started with a 6-day stomach flu. My entire family got it, and I think Morgan was 6. It was a little over a year ago, actually. The reason it's been coming up was because last 4th of July, my son was with my family because I couldn't care for him because I was psychotic, or I was having psychotic episodes. So basically what happened was in March, I got this 6-day long stomach flu. And I knew it was a 6-day long stomach flu because my husband and my son got it too. But day 7 went by and I wasn't better, and day 8 and day 9. And finally I put 2 and 2 together, and I remembered that after I had my son, for 6 months after, your digestion slows down. And I couldn't take lithium, which I've always been able to take. I have never had an issue with lithium. I know a lot of people do. It's been a godsend for me. And I was unable to take lithium at that time. And so I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, oh, my digestion is screwed up, so it's probably the lithium. I probably have to take a break from the lithium. And I've taken breaks from lithium before and been fine, but I had been on slow release every 12 hours for about 3 years at this point. And before that point, I was on immediate release lithium that I just took, I think, at night. And I also was only on 300 milligrams at that time, which is like the lowest dose. And for the past 3 years, I've been on 300 milligrams every 12 hours. So 600 milligrams a day. So I emailed my psychiatrist and I was like, hey, I told him what was going on. And he said, yes, go off of your lithium until you have no more symptoms of your stomach flu. So I went off the lithium. I was off of it for 1 week. And I was at work downtown, and I got off work, and I was just feeling, the night before I had gotten a massage, and it was a deep tissue massage. But I was feeling, I thought that I was sore from the massage. My body really ached, like all over. And by the end of the day, I started to get a fever and a splitting headache. And the aches, I realized, weren't from the massage. And I went home and I went to bed, and it just continued from there. There was no psychosis, but my body hurt really bad, and I was just soaking my sheets every night, and I was literally wearing pajamas, and I would soak through my pajamas and through my sheets. And I had to wash my sheets like like I was wetting the bed, you know? I had to wash my, and thankfully, because I have a child who wets the bed occasionally, I have a mattress protector on my bed. But then I would get these trembling attacks where I would shiver so hard that my body would it would shake and like it would shake violently, and like it felt like I had a fever, you know, where you get the shivers when you have a really bad fever. And so it was like these major hot, and then sweating, just pools, and then the shivers and the body pain and my knees and my joints and these splitting headaches. And I also was having a hard time sleeping, and normally I don't have a hard time sleeping. Oh my God, there's somebody like walking toward my car, and it's kind of mortifying. Here, they're gonna walk by. Oh, he was looking at his phone. Cool. I'm so like, I don't care what people think of me, and then I'm all, oh my God, there's somebody walking. I am a work in progress, just like everybody else. Judge me, it's your problem, not mine. Anywho, where were we? Psychosis. So that night, the first night, I thought I was having lithium withdrawals. So I went back on the lithium because my tummy was actually, it was pretty much okay by then. So I went back on lithium that night, and I thought that the problems would go away, but they intensified. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together again, because lithium interacts with the thyroid. Lithium suppresses the thyroid. A lot of times, psychiatrists, like whenever I mean, my psychiatrist I have now is awesome, but I've seen some lame ones, and every time like I've been in the mental hospital, they're like, oh yeah, of course you have thyroid issues because you take lithium. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with lithium. I was diagnosed when I was 25. I wasn't diagnosed with bipolar until I was 33. So I called my endocrinologist. And actually, no, I didn't call my endocrinologist. I happened to have my annual physical with my endocrinologist the next day after this first sweating, aching attack, right? So I went in and I was like, yeah, I had this sweating, aching thing. I don't know what's going on, you know, and I went back on the lithium, blah, 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 right? So he tested my TSH and my T4 and my T3. Okay, so I went to my stinking endo, and he did a blood draw, and he called me the next day and said, you are a little teeny bit hyperthyroid. So what happened in hindsight, this was before I was getting my lab work from him. This was the turning point when I went, I need to take my health into my own hands again, because I did when I had postpartum and then I'd gotten lazy. I need my fucking labs, and I need them every fucking time. I need to know my levels. And he was keeping me almost hyperthyroid. I was at like a 0.3, and I will verify that and put a note in here. But he was keeping me dangerously close to hyperthyroid, which is actually, it's dangerous. Between 0.5 and 2 is Isabella Wentz. Those are her suggestions for TSH. My psychiatrist for bipolar patients suggests staying at about a 2. He says that His bipolar patients operate best at about a 2 TSH. So I was dangerously close to hyperthyroid, which means I was taking too much thyroid med. And when I stopped taking the lithium, only for a week, I was close enough to hyperthyroid to have that tip me over the edge. Now, I was barely hyperthyroid, okay? Barely, per him. And I got those labs, and I will post what they were, because I don't remember, but I'll post it. I was fucked for 3 months. I was having all of those symptoms for 3 months because he said, keep taking the same dosage. When you get back on the lithium, it'll straighten out. Call me in a month and let me know how it goes. This is why I am not a health advocate anymore. I am a health activist, because shit needs to change. I always come from a place of love, absolutely. But you know what? Shit needs to change. And when I come from a place of love against endocrinology currently, I am coming from a place of self-love, because I love myself and I love other women who go through this shit, and it's not cool. It is not cool. And it's women. It's not dudes. It is women. And there are a lot of problems. And I'll put a little note in about that too, because that's a whole other subject. But the way the thyroid is treated in Western medicine is horribly wrong and hurts women. And we are told we're hysterical, or we're just fat, or we're just lazy, and we need to diet when we're hypothyroid, because they don't check all of our levels. And you have to check all of our levels. Anyway, let me get off of my soapbox. I'm actually in my car. There's no soapbox here. I just unrolled the window. I hope it's not too loud, but it got really hot in here. I guess I could turn on the AC. Oh my God, you guys, seriously. So I was sick. I'm going to say it was the end of May, because it was my baby grandniece's first birthday, and I went up to Tahoe. Now, the week before, I was at the farmer's market, and I had this floating sensation. Now, it kind of felt like mania. Like, it kind of felt good, but it also felt scary, because I felt like I was floating out of my body. Like, I was losing my identity, if that makes any sense. It felt scary. It felt like I was flying above my body, and not in a disassociative way, the way I used to do when, you know, my father was beating my mom, or I was talking him out of killing her, or when I was raped, or, you know, any of those traumas where I disassociate and literally go into the corner of the room and become the observer. It was not that. It was this floating removal of self, where I was just like this vessel walking around buying carrots at the farmer's market. And I was pretending to be a person. I got home and I was fine. And I kept it to myself. And I thought, that was from the hyperthyroid. Like, I knew that that was from the hyperthyroid. And I literally called it like a thyroid attack. But I remembered everything that had happened, right? I didn't have any blackouts. So this is what happened. So we went to Tahoe. I thought I was better because I was getting a lot better. And it was like, I think it was the end of May. And so maybe it was only March, April, May. Yeah, it was about 3 months. And I was driving back. No, it was before I was driving back. I started to trip out at my my little baby grandniece's birthday party. I just felt very weird and kind of floaty, and I knew it was my thyroid. I was very aware of that. And then when it was time to pack and go home, like 2 days later, I was at my mom's house up in Tahoe, and I forgot packing, and I was suddenly in my car, and my son was in the back seat, and I looked at my mom and I said, "Mom, I don't remember packing." And she was like, "It's okay, baby, you're fine, you're just tired." And she didn't know what was happening, and I was like really fucking scared because I blacked out. And I was like, "Mom, I blacked out." And I told her, and there was power in that. But she was like, "It's okay, baby, you're fine." And so she made me feel assured that I was okay, that it wasn't, because I had said it out loud to her. And so that made it, I just turned on the windshield wipers. So that made it better. And I'm gonna roll this back up. Let's put on the AC. I drove all the way to the Sacramento airport, and it was really bad. It was like the floating, but all of a sudden I forgot my life. And I was driving, and I was like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And all I knew was I just kept saying to myself, watch the white line, like I do when I'm driving in fog, because I get really scared when I drive in fog, like really thick fog, and I go, just follow the white line, stay on the white line, stay on the white line, stay on the white line. And so I went, stay on the white line, get yourself to the Sacramento airport, stay on the white line, get yourself to the Sacramento airport. Everything will be okay if you just can get to the Sacramento airport. And the weird thing was, everything was fine once I got to the airport. Everything came back. I knew who I was. I knew who I was married to. I knew that it was a rental car. I knew what to do. I knew how to take care of my son, everything. But the entire 2-hour drive to Sacramento, I was just trying to recall my life. Literally, did I get a master's degree? Did I go to school? Was I an actor? Do I do stand-up comedy? What is that? There's no way. I couldn't piece together my life. And so I just thought it was like a thyroid episode. And what happened? I don't know if it was a week later. I know that I think it was like June 18th. Because I remember Morgan going to my sister and my mom took Morgan, my son. So what happened was I was at a meeting, a 12-step meeting, recovery meeting. And I got the feeling, And I told my girlfriend, Rachel, I was like, I don't feel like myself. I don't really know who I am. And I was actually in the middle of a detox because I think I just started a new diet. I think I was doing the AIP again. And she was like, I think you're just detoxing. I think you're okay. I think you're just detoxing. So I had said it out loud again, but it didn't make it better, even though Rachel's one of my best friends and she's amazing and she does make most things better. I went home, and when I was driving home, I was like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what my life is. And it was like the most intense it had been. Like it was more, let me just say is I completely forgot who I was. On the way home, I think I had called my husband and said, I need to call 911. And he said, don't call 911. I said, I need help. And he was just starting a new job because he's a freelance editor. And I got home and I just stared at the wall and I lost myself completely. I lost everything. Absolutely everything. Everything was gone. Oh, I remember. I was on the GAPS diet. That's what it was. I was on like day 9 or 10 of the GAPS diet, which I'm sure didn't help because I was literally just drinking bone broth and boiled vegetables. Because I thought it was going to help me with my gut. I've always believed in food. And I'm right. Like, food has really helped me, but that was not the right food for me. And I called 911 and I said, I don't know who I am. And the next thing I knew, there were 2 paramedics in my house, and then Matt was there, and he got the paramedics to go away because they were going to take me to the mental hospital. And I was like, no, I've been 3 times. I know what's going to happen there. It's not going to do anything. And I had also called my psychiatrist, and I was so out of it. I remember he was like, Courtney, put Matt on the phone. I was like, okay. Like, I was blotto. Totally blotto. And it was so fucking scary. It was so scary. And the weirdest thing happened. So my husband said, just stay where you are. I'm going to In-N-Out and getting you a double. Oh no, he wanted to get me the counter. That was right. He goes, you need a cheeseburger. And he's like, I'm going to the counter. I'm getting you a cheeseburger. Stay right where you are. And I was like, no, I want In-N-Out, which is hilarious because that was like the first meat that I ate when I was pregnant after 7 years of not eating meat. And I was like, I want In-N-Out. In-N-Out's going to make everything better. I need a Coke. I need fries. I need a double with cheese. Next thing I knew, I ate the In-N-Out and I was fine. So my husband was like, okay, it was just this dumb diet you're on. Stop it. Eat meat. But then it happened again the next day. And then my psychiatrist put me on an antipsychotic, and he took me off all my antidepressants, including Thyroidone, which I loved. It was such a great sleep aid. He took me off Prozac, Thyroidone, and Wellbutrin, and put me on Risperidone. whatever the fuck. And it was horrible. It was horrible. I hate antipsychotics. I hate the way they make me feel. I totally understand why people with schizophrenia don't take their meds, because it's what people with schizophrenia take. I took Latuda, and that was basically landed me in my 3rd hospital. I sucked the whole roof of my mouth raw. My tongue had blisters all over it. But that's a different story. I started to do that with this one too, and I ate everything. I fucking ate everything. I gained 30 pounds in a month. So what happened was the psychotic episodes, and I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I'm going to tell it. I'm going to tell it. So what would happen was I would see circles and squares. Circles and squares out this side. Circles and squares out this side. Just for days, right? I knew they weren't really there. It was just like geometry, right? And I would look over this way, and I would be scared to look back this way because I knew that circles would be gone. And the circles were me. And then I'd look this way, and then more and more circles would be gone. And then eventually all the circles would be gone. And then I was gone, and because I was the circles, and then all there were was squares. It was so fucking scary. I don't think I've ever even cried over this before. It was so scary. So I had 7 psychotic episodes. And I found out several months later, after going cold turkey off of 3 antidepressants, and going on fucking awful antipsychotic, which then I was taking metformin to not eat so much. Like, it was like taking another med to counteract, and by the end of the month I was back. I was present, I still had aching joints for months. I mean, it took a long time to get that out of me, and I'd never been hyperthyroid. I had always been hypo. I'd never experienced that before. And I switched endocrinologists, and I only saw that woman once, but I only saw that endo once, but after I did some research and she verified it, my thyroid caused the psychosis. So I went off. But of course, like, when you go psychotic, what do? You call your psychiatrist. You don't think to call your endo. I mean, my endo would probably have just been like, But that's it. That's my story. And it sucked balls. And it was a long, terrorizing ride. At the end of the day, I had 7 psychotic episodes. And I hope to never have one again. I hope to never have to take an antipsychotic again. They do not work well with my body. I'm back on antidepressants. I'm on different ones now. It's probably better I went off the Prozac because it really wasn't working and I had maxed it out. So anyway, that's my story. I love you guys. I don't know if it's helpful, but that's my story. Stay rad. I will. And I'm still here. And so are you. And I'm not psychotic today. Hopefully I'm not going to get murdered by somebody in the parking lot. Okay, I'm going to go get my frickin' soup now. Later, skaters.